Happy Monday. Shauna, how are you?
Good. How are you? Nice to see you,
Good.
Tyler.
It's good to see you. Hope you had a great weekend. I've got Shauna Saylor with me from Brookswood Denture Clinic here in Langley, British Columbia, Canada. Yeah, it was a good weekend. It was busy. You guys had I know we were talking about the football game last night. That was a bummer.
It was something else. It was a bummer. Good game, though.
It was a good game. We're talking about the Seahawks game. No longer undefeated, but there's always next week. So
It's always next week.
we'll get on it. So, all right. So Shauna Saylor is one of the founding members. She founded Brookswood Denture Clinic with her husband Darren Saylor back in 1993, so 27 years ago. They have Colin Hardy at the practice as well, who's also part of the ownership team there at Brookswood Denture Clinic in Langley. Thriving, very busy, very successful denture practice for 27 years now. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey, Shauna?
Oh my goodness. We were very young at the time when we got started. We were 23, I guess. Yeah, when we opened the practice in Langley, new to British Columbia. And of course, I'm not the one that makes the dentures. Darren did. But I'm the person that manages the front office, human resources, marketing, and treatment coordinating. So yeah, we've had I can't believe it's been that long already, and so many things have changed from the day we opened to, of course, 2020, like it is in all other offices.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's been a great journey.
So now, obviously, you're one of the owners with Darren and Colin. But what title do you officially give yourself?
Office manager.
Office manager. Okay.
Office manager, yeah. I'm not technically an owner. I'm an office manager, but I did start the practice with Darren, and so Darren Saylor and Colin Hardy are the official owners, and I help manage the practice with them so they can concentrate on working with their patients and making dentures.
Yeah, for sure. And you've seen, making dentures over the last 25 years or so. And like you said, I know you're not making them, but you're seeing it pretty close up.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot changing in the denture world right now.
Absolutely. From materials to going from the analog to digital has been a big change in the denturist field over the last several years. There's still a lot of improvements that need to be made in the digital world, but it's coming, and it's able to offer our patients different types of impression techniques and efficiencies that we weren't able to have before digital came along.
Mm-hmm. And Darren and I have talked about this at length. We debated over this a few years ago with the scanning technology, and what we mean by that is, instead of having a traditional impression with the impression material in your mouth, having the digital scanner that it's basically like a wand where you can do a digital scan of the patient's mouth, and then you can start doing the design and the fabrication of the denture partly in machines and not 100% by hand, right?
We're able to do some procedures to scan, like say making partial dentures. We're able to do some of that using our scanner and some of the digital printer that we have in the office to help us with final impression trays, let's say. Yeah. We haven't gone the full extent yet because we're waiting for certain technology to come about. And we have to make sure that what we're giving our patients is the best quality possible and the best accuracy possible. And sometimes digital gives it to you and sometimes digital doesn't.
Right. And it's having the clinical background, the clinical knowledge to look at a case and say, you know what, this
absolutely
is still, so much of this is hands-on, and looking at the occlusion of the patient and making sure that the functionality is going to be there for their denture.
Absolutely. Yep.
Absolutely. So obviously here we are, we're getting towards the end of October 2020. It's been obviously, we all know it's been a roller coaster. There's been a lot of adversity this year. People dealing with this COVID thing is it's been a real challenge for, say, most of us. Mm-hmm. So for you guys in the practice, I deal with denturists, I work with dentists, I work with specialists, and everybody's kind of working, dealing with COVID and the challenge that it presents in their own way. So can you tell us a little bit about how you guys have sort of, pivoted or changed the procedures in your practice to obviously keep your patients informed and safe?
Right. Yeah, it was a challenge, especially when we had to close our practice for 10 weeks. And I'm sure like any other practice, whether it's a dentist office or another denture clinic, we had to look at, okay, how are we going back to work? What does that look like? How are we protecting our staff, not just our patients?
Of course.
And what will make our staff feel comfortable coming back to work? So Darren, Colin, and myself, we spent hours, I'm sure like other offices, putting together a back to work plan, looking at how are we going to see our patients? What's going to make us comfortable? Do we need plexiglass screens at the front desk? Of course we do. Are we going to keep our door locked? How are we going to, where is our staff going to eat lunch? What do we do when we bring a patient in the office? How are we going to screen them? Do we bring them straight back into an operatory? We're lucky, we've kind of got sort of an old school office where we don't have open operatories. We have rooms with doors, which makes it really easy to bring a patient straight back and put them into a room. The other thing too is we've always went from a written sort of chart system, and that never changed. We've left it for years like that. However, when this situation came up and we now have COVID-19 to deal with, and we're like, well, do we keep the charts with the patient work? How are the dentures going to make their notes and document? How are we going to, are we touching more paper than we need to? So we looked at, do we go digital? Like, do we literally stop using our charting system that we've used for so long that still worked, and go and start putting our documentation notes into our patient management system that we have. So we use DomX, and it's perfectly capable for doing that. We just needed to figure out how we're going to, do we need more computers in the office so that Darren and Colin have easy access to making documentation. So we made quite a bit of investment, and we decided before we went back that we were no longer going to use the chart system.
That's
and
great.
Yeah.
So you put everything online, so it's much easier to manage then, right? Because now paper's not passing from hand to hand. Everything's charted digitally.
Correct. Yeah. And so that was a big, but there was a lot of steps involved because we still have 27 years we have thousands of patients that come and see us, and we still have a charting system that was manual. So we had to put procedures in about scanning our charts into our patient management system, any documentation letters, anything that we didn't keep digitally that we received, say from a dentist, a referral letter, we've scanned all of that into our current patients. And then when we have a new patient come in, we don't start a patient chart for them. So that was a really big change for us. But it's one of the best changes. I mean, really, it forced us to change, and it was a good change. And
sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
Well, that's a perfect segue. So you've got DomX, which is sort of the brain of the practice, I guess, for lack of better terms. I'm not sure. So which is where everything's stored. So now I say a good segue because you recently started working with another technology called FormStack.
We did.
So this is now this is enhancing the patient experience, making everything contactless. And now you can actually have the patient come to your website, fill out the forms in a HIPAA compliant, very secure manner. We say HIPAA compliant a lot of the time, but in Canada, it's actually PIPEDA. So I think it's protection of information and privacy. I forget the other words in the acronym, but basically PIPEDA and HIPAA, both security bodies in place to make sure that that information that you're collecting from the patient is secure. So you're now working with FormStack. Patients can come to your practice and fill out their forms online and securely. Can you tell us a little bit about that process?
Oh, that was a great change. I mean, it took a little while to get our forms sort of sorted out. What did we need? What did we need so that we didn't have to use patient charts anymore? So when a new patient came to our office, we would usually invite them in, we'd sit with them, we'd help fill out their medical form with them or get them to fill it out themselves, and it would become part of the chart. Well, we no longer have a manual paper chart anymore. So how do we do this? And, we have, of course, most of our patients are 60+, okay? And we have a good portion that are 70s, 80s, and 90s. Are they going to use it? were they going to use stack, or are we just sort of, you know, hoping that they do? Well, it's been a great, actually, it's a great experiment, because I would say at least 95% of all of our patients have no issues at all at filling forms out online. We make it as simple as possible for them. And, you know, the ones that really don't have a tablet or a computer or a phone, we will still do that in the office with them, but it's such a small amount. And when we do that one in the office, then we just scan it into the computer and it just becomes part of their digital file, and we get rid of the paper. But honestly, the form stack, when we book a new patient in, or an existing patient, and for the first time since before COVID, then we ask them, we send them an email. You don't have to do it this way, but we do that. It's a welcome email. It gives them some information about the office, about please wear a mask to the office. Please let us know if your health changes before your appointment. And it gives them the 2 forms that we'd like them to fill out. It links to them. They link to our website, or they link directly to the form. So they don't have to go to our website, but if they don't want to, and they have it in their email, they open up the form, they fill out the form, very easy for them to fill out. We've made it so that they don't get caught in a few required, you know, you have required fields that you have to have information on, but we've made some fields not required so that they don't, if there's any hiccups for them, especially because we are working with an older demographic, that, like I said, 95% no issue, back to us. They come back to FormStack. We get a notification a form was received. We download the form, which is in a PDF format, which is great. It can't be changed. We put that right into their digital file, into DOMX, and it becomes part of their file. Same with the COVID consent and screening form. They do the same thing. So we have 2 forms for them to fill out. And when they come into the office, Darren and Colin are able to go to their DOMX digital patient file, open up their medical form, and it's also a dental history form as well, not just a medical form. So anything that might be bothering them, when was their last time they saw their dentist, they're able then to go in and read all the information and start the appointment.
It's all automatically populated into DOMX.
Exactly. We also, I want to add though, a lot of our patients will come with an advocate or a son or a daughter. So that might be what sets us apart from maybe a dentist office, where a lot of people might just go on their own into the office. We have people that have to have a driver. They need to come in. So we're able to send them the same consent form to fill out prior to coming to our office, so they understand sort of the rules to come into Brookswood Denture Clinic to have work done, or to bring someone to the office. So
I could be sitting there like I was last night watching the Seahawks lose in the last 40 seconds.
Yes.
You guys, so you guys could send me that email, and I could be sitting there watching the Seahawks play, and I can see the email, I can click on the link, and I can fill out all these forms on my phone while I'm watching football.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That is brilliant.
And it's easy. We're not asking complicated questions. Like, yes, there is a section for medications. But you know what? Most people will fill out the type of medication they're taking. And if they can't, they'll bring us a list to the office. And when they come, we'll scan that in. You know, we try to we have to make it easy for people. Otherwise, they're not going to do it. And it's going to make our job harder. And right now, like I'm sure every office right now, all their front end treatment coordinators or patient coordinators we have double the work right now. And it's because we're screening people on the phone, we're screening people when they book, we're screening people when we remind them, we're screening them at the door. So, and then we're also cleaning, 5 times as much as we did before, when they walk into the office. So the less time we have to do the paperwork that needs to be done for the denturist, the more time we have to do the other things that we have to do. That's changed for us. So this has changed our practice. We wouldn't go back now.
No, I guess, once you start doing it online, I mean, I could never imagine going back if even as a patient, if I'm getting these forms on my phone and I'm like, well, it's just on my phone. Why would I ever I would never fill out a piece of paper after that, ever.
Yeah. You do get, the odd patient that they're scared. They're, oh no, what kind of forms are you sending me? Oh no, like, am I going to be able to do this? We just encourage them. And like I said, most of our patients are seniors. Some of them in their upper 80s. They can do these as well if they've got a tablet, a phone, or a computer. Now, a lot of them, have a desktop or a tablet, so it's easier for them to do it versus a phone, but many people do it by phone. So, I mean, it gives them all those options, and we just encourage them and tell them to give it a try, because at the end, it's easy. You press submit. They don't have to print anything. Sometimes they think they need to print something. They don't. It comes right to us. If we want to print it out for some reason, we will, but otherwise we can put it right into their digital file.
So when they push submit, you then get an alert in your FormStack portal, is that correct?
Yep.
And then
in our FormStack portal, and we have all of the forms in there. So once in a while we go through them and of course delete the ones we don't need, but we are able to look back and see which medical dental form we received and which COVID form we received, and we just download them right into DOM. So it is so easy. That's
very cool. I want to take a look at your forms. The next step too is that, like, I've got some people using the documents portion of FormStack, which is, again, the nice thing about this product is that it's evolutionary. You can kind of almost it's like a build your own journey with FormStack, because now when you collect that data and the forms are created, you can then migrate that information into a document, which is, it sounds like you're populating it into a practice management software, which is your use case for it. But we've got specialists, like we have a gastrointestinal specialist. We're actually building a workflow for him where he's like, I want to automate the intake process like you have. And then he says, I want it to go into an EHR, or I want to be able to create my own documents from there. So can I do that? So the ability to build your own workflow around this, around FormStack, it's pretty incredible. I want to quickly share my screen so that I can see do you mind if I show your website and where you've put your form?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to quickly share my screen. If I can, that is. If it lets me. Share. Okay, can you see that?
There we go. Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so you've got your forms up here.
Correct.
And you've actually created your own separate page for just forms.
Right.
So you've got the patient medical form, COVID screening, and then the patient referral form. So these two I understand. So your medical form, that's basically your medical intake form, I would assume. So,
yeah, medical and dental intake, exactly.
Okay, so you've got, so I'm just going to quickly click on that. So this is what the patient will see, whether it's on their phone, tablet, any kind of device they're using. And they fill all this out, and then there should be a submit button. So there's a next. So this is obviously a couple pages, this one.
Yeah, we decided to put a progress bar at the bottom. It helps the patient know that they're really close to the end, because they thought that sometimes they go in and they think, oh, the form's too long and they're not going to do it. So we try to chop it up for them a little bit, and this has really made a difference for them. And really, there's only, I think, 3 pages like this. I mean, it's not very long.
That progress bar is great, because then you could just say, well, how many more pages do I have to get through here? Because I know that I'd ask that. I'd be like, well, how many pages is this thing before I start filling it out, right?
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to close that one. And then the patient referral form. Now, is that you referring patients to specialists, or how?
No, that is actually our referral form for dentists to refer to our office.
Oh,
and
okay.
This has actually made a really big difference. A lot of times they'll fill out our referral pad note, and then they'll send it with the patient or fax it. Now, sometimes some dentists are still doing that because they're so used to doing that. But if they come to this page here, they'll fill out all the same information they would fill out on a patient referral form, and they'll submit it. It'll come back to the office. We will, through FormStack, of course, and we will add that into the patient digital file. But what I'll also do is, because it's, I say HIPAA compliant, I know the Canadian has their own compliancy, but
yeah,
what happens is it comes to us as a PDF. And what I do is I save that PDF, and in turn, I'll email it back to the dentist so they have a copy of it, because it's compliant. This is not allowed to send to the dentist's office, because then we have the forms going out in different directions. So it only comes to us, it's secured by us, and we'll share it back with them so that they have a PDF version of the referral form as well.
So when you share
it
it
has
back,
some
it has
really
to,
good, it has some good security measures. And this is great because we get more information on here from a dentist than we do when they write something on a referral form.
right. That's fantastic. And it kind of forces them to give you all the required information you need, so that probably limits down on doubling back and actually having to call each other and say, well, you know, hey, like I don't have the complete history on this patient here. Can you please give us more information?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
It's been great.
it forces them to do it out of the gate, which is
Mhm.
so I'm going to close that. And then you've got printable forms down here as well, I see. Okay.
Yeah, the only reason we have them there is because we have the odd patient that does not have a phone, they don't have a computer. I mean, we are talking about, you know, senior patients, and sometimes their sons or daughters might go here to our website and have a printer, and they'll print it and bring it to their mom and fill it out with their mom or dad. So it's another option for that, but we don't really get these very often anymore.
Mhm.
We're people, like I said, 95% plus are using the digital forms now.
That's amazing. And, you know, no better time, right? I mean, I think everyone's on that. It's an easy conversion for people to say, you know what, just go digital with it, push submit, and and again, like you say, really hitting on the fact that it's secure, it's HIPAA compliant, and then information only goes in one direction. And you control the flow of information, and it's all under lock and key. That's really at the nucleus of what FormStack is, because it's you know, it's risk mitigation at the heart of all of this.
Exactly.
You see hackers out there right now. I mean, what big company isn't a target right now for a hacker, right? So
Right.
I'm going to stop sharing now. Is there anything else on the site that you wanted to look at?
No, I think this is where the digital forms are. And like I said, we can send a patient, you know, even if a patient is coming in and they have a denture repair and they don't have time to check their email or whatever, or they don't want to check their email, they can go right to our website and they can fill out a form, and we can get it right before they arrive. So when they arrive, they're all ready to go. We know they have their consent. We'll screen them at the door. We have their medical history, their dental history, and we bring them right back into the operatory for Darren or Colin to start the appointment.
Mm-hmm. And it seems to me like, I don't know how to quantify this, but I mean, really streamlining the intake and the communication process.
Huge. Yeah.
It's fantastic. And the team of like the team and like the reception team at the office, like, how do they feel about it when they started using it?
You know what? It wasn't really about how did they feel about it. We had a lot of changes. Everybody was scared about COVID, what we had to do. And then we throw in, hey, we're going digital. So I think they were nervous and excited. Yeah, they pretty much did that. They covered they're like, there's too much going on here, you know. Yeah. But if you look back, because now we've been at it since June 1st, right? Mm-hmm. So we wouldn't it's going very smoothly. I mean, we had to divide some of the functions up between different staff because of all the changes. So I would be the one that would send out the emails and the emails with the form links, right? I would receive them. I would put them into DomX. We have another person that just handled phone calls and screening. We had another person who would scan in all our existing patient charts that were coming in, so it's ready for the patient to come. Now that we added our fourth person back into the office when she was able to come back to work, and now both her and I send out the forms and look through form stats. So we still have a division of duties, but it works great for us, and it's easy to learn. And
and has the support been pretty good? I mean, I know you have a pretty close line to our development team here at Dennis On Demand.
Yes, I do. However, you know what? It's really easy. I mean, I've done some of this stuff myself. Once I know how it works, I mean, I really think anybody can do it. And you know what? If you can't create your own forms, then someone can help you create the forms. That's easy. And I've changed our form. Oh my goodness, our COVID consent form. I mean, I'm sure I had 15 questions at the beginning. Now I have maybe, I don't know how many is 8 or whatever. So you kind of get better at as you go, but it's easy to change them. Everything was easy to do, even the medical dental form.
Well, yeah, and that's a point I wanted to make, is that it is a form building technology. So
Correct.
really, there are other form softwares out there, but I think what's unique about FormStack is that you fully customize it. You can change it on the fly.
Yep.
It's really kind of a living, breathing entity, which, you know, the support's there and the ability to customize and make sure that everything's secure. And really, it's more of a workflow. It's not just forms.
Correct. And I can see us building on to maybe other forms that we might need in the future. You know, we're maybe not like your gastrointestinal specialist. I mean, I'm sure that he's got some very complicated forms that he needs and different
He's got to build your own journey kind of thing with his.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a big project.
Our big thing is our medical dental history and our COVID consent right now are our main forms that we have to, but I can see in the future combining them. I can see a couple different things happening to it, but really for a denture practice, this is pretty much all you need for forms. I can't see anything else unless someone is doing something different in their practice. I mean, you could have a try and consent form you can build into it. There's so many different forms that you can do. For us, this is what we need, and this is what works for us to be able to run the practice in 2020 and beyond.
Absolutely, yeah. This has been so insightful. I'm super thrilled for you guys. You've always been a very innovative practice at Brookswood Denture Clinic. Is there any information? Can we share your website, your contact info for patients that want to get in touch with you?
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Okay. So it's is it Brookswood Denture Clinic? What is it? What's your website handle?
No, it's yourdenture.com.
Yourdenture.com.
So, yeah,
I should know that. I was just on your website.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, people can Google Brookswood Denture Clinic and get us too, but that's where we are. So
yourdenture.com, and then obviously we've got Shauna, Sailor here, and then Darren and Colin at the practice, and a really great team. I've been working with you guys for, I don't know, probably the better part of a decade now, and it's been an absolute pleasure to work with you guys.
And we have an awesome team. We really do. And you know what? Right now, every office that has a team like such as ours is what makes things go smooth in the office right now.
Absolutely. And every time I walk in, you know, what's that?
Especially during the challenging times.
During the challenging times, yeah. And that's the thing, is that even I'm not a patient of yours, but you know, we do work on the equipment and supply side of things. And even as your supplier, you know, even walking into the practice, I always feel very welcomed, and you guys are always super professional and just a really top-notch practice. So congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Tyler.
Yeah, always. Okay, Shauna, it was great talking to you. I'm sure you got tons to do, so I'm gonna let you get back to it. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm gonna have you on another one soon.
Okay, thanks. Bye, Tyler. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks.
Dentist on Demand, the new way to find your dentist.